still be able to barely defend it if an attack comes in with a massive amount of Zerglings. They can still defend. Anyway, so it looks like we're gonna see just a Neo Sauron build out of Shine, and a pretty standard play out of Bisu as well. Neo Sauron build again is the build where they get the 3 hatcheries, go for a spire, and then after the spire's up, they can use the spire, get some scourge out to defend against the early Corsair harassment, and then get a couple more hatcheries and mass hydras. It's generally what you do, and then it depends on. Sometimes they just go off 3 bases. We saw a lot of who was doing that? Who was I watching recently that was doing it off of 3 bases? Some pro league match I was watching where they just kind of used their 3 bases. Oftentimes you see them go for more bases and go for like a longer macro game though, after they initially mass some hydras. It depends on what kind of pressure the Protoss is putting on as well. So anyway, so there goes the Scourge. It's going to chase away that Corsair. I doubt that Corsair is going to die. Bisu is so Gosu at keeping his units alive, but although in this case his priority is scouting that 3rd base to see what kind of tech is going on there, and that's exactly what we saw him do. His Zealots get a little bit surrounded. Micros them very well though. Moving and attacking gets them out of the surround. Otherwise, they would have probably not killed those as many Zerglings, and that second one would not have escaped. But yeah, there's the Corsair. Looks like it is going to probably escape across the map. It's already taken 1 Scourge hit, and the second Scourge is ever so slowly catching up to it. Looks like he's going to try and... is he going to dodge? Oh, yes! He's going to dodge! Ha Yes! That's what I'm talking about. That is why Bisu is the best of the best, because of stuff like that. I was talking about cutting corners, but also it means, using your APM, your extra APM, to get a little bit of extra micro out of things to save your extra units. A lot of players these days, that Corsair would have died. They would have just sacrificed it running around and gotten it scourged and would have died. But Bisu never, ever loses a Corsair that he doesn't have to. He's always paying attention to his Corsair and dodging it around, and that's exactly what we just saw right there. And that is the Gosu-ness of Bisu at work right there. Now he's sending in, this is some true Bisu build material here. He's sending in this Dark Templar. Well, actually, I guess the true Bisu build would have more Corsair harassment, and that's basically why the Neo Sauron build has come about, is as a direct counter to the Bisu build, because by getting those early Scourge and shutting down the Corsair harass, you can stop them from coming in and killing off your overlords, or forcing them away, which then of course leaves you open for the DT attack. So by shutting down those early Corsairs, you can make it a lot more difficult for DTs to sneak in and get kills. But in this case, Bisu's actually built up a sizable force of Corsairs. It looks like 6 Corsairs, I think, and that is going to be enough. If he can get good positioning, yes, that's going to be enough to kill off Scourge that are attacking. He's got them on A move, so if he can see them in time, he should be able to kill off Corsairs. And here's what he's going to do. But Mutas are coming out now. He's got a couple Scourge in the area. He's going to go after those Corsairs. But like I said, he actually is up to 7 Corsairs now. Whoa, he gets a couple hits off on those Corsairs, but he's actually going to run away. You kind of need to just go all in. Oh, he actually does manage to target one. I thought he was going to do, actually what I kind of had said in the commentary the other day, that I was looking forward to some players learning to stop their Corsairs that are not under attack and move with the ones that are under attack and kill off the other Scourge that way. But yeah, when the Scourge are attacking, you kind of need to just sit there and just have your nerves of steel and try and kill them off, or you need to run. And Bisu did a little bit of both in that situation, and had to run away and ended up losing one because he tried to turn around again. But actually now coming with Simulus, and this is really, whoa, a bunch of Scourge coming in, only kills 2 Corsairs though. Could have killed more, but only managed to kill 2 Corsairs. And this is actually a pretty good combination with the Archons and the Corsairs. It's going to be pretty easy for him to defend against this here. But landing another couple Scourge on another Corsair, Archon not able to get into a good position to attack those Mulas. Here he comes in with the Mulas. No cannons in that line, and Bisu morphing an Archon just in the nick of time before those Mulas probably would have picked off at least one of those High Templar before those Corsairs could get back in there. And Bisu looks like he's going for, he was going for like an Archon with Mass Zealot build, just to make an attack that way. But Shine getting out his Duelists a little bit earlier than he had hoped, I guess, and a lot more Duelists, I suppose. Could have worked. I mean, it's a good strategy. It's a popular strategy for Protoss players to use. to go out with the one Archon to protect their Zealots from Mutalisk fire, and then the Zealots can take care of anything on the ground if they're +1 and speed upgraded as Bisu's are. But with that many mutas, he had to get some more Archons, and had to bring his Corsairs along too, and that was critical too. Is some nice clutch scourge work by Shine. He was able to kill off some of those Corsairs, which also made it so the Corsairs couldn't just kill off the mutas. So preventing Bisu's attack, forcing a longer game, forcing Bisu to play a macro game and get this third base up, and making sure he can't do any damage with that initial attack. So nicely done by Shine. But Bisu's still doing well here. Still is now at 3 bases. He's got a third base going before Shine is able to get that fourth base up. And oh, there comes some more Scourge coming in, and that's what I'm talking about. Just holding position there is able to kill off all the Scourge before they kill off the Corsairs. It looks like a single Scourge did land, but it was just enough to save those Corsairs. And so now he's got a nice ball of anti-air. Those Corsairs with a couple Archons on top are really going to be able to stop any air forces. He may have some trouble if the Corsairs are apart from the Archons and distracted. He may have some trouble with Scourge, but no amount of Mutalisks are going to be able to do anything, and so that's why we see him switching to more Hydra Lurk, and this is really actually a good combination of units against the army that Bisu has right now. Hydralisks and Lurkers are going to do really well against his army because he doesn't have any High Templar with his army. He's probably got some back at home, but he needs them with his army right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to get up here to reinforce. Here he comes in. He doesn't have observers either. No, he does have an observer. He does have an observer. This is a critical point where Shine really would have needed to snipe that observer, but he doesn't have an Overlord handy. He is going to be able to force Bisu back up his ramp with just sheer numbers, though. It's going to be difficult for him to break that ramp with those cannons behind the various units. And Bisu's going to have to send in some Zealots. That is a really nice ramp there. And Shine just forcing that ramp a little bit too badly. There's the High Templar. Is he going to try and snipe the High Templar? The High Templar survives. And Shine suiciding a ton of Hydralisks on that ramp. It was really, really bad tactical decision there to try and run up that ramp. But he has a ton of Hydralisks now. He really macroed up a ton of Hydralisks after those Mutos and just went sheer Hydras. And has a ton now. And oh, he's going in. He snipes a single High Templar. The other High Templar manages to get a Storm off before it gets sniped. Does he have another Storm? Does he have another Storm? He's able to. He does have another Storm. That's going to soften up those Hydras. But I don't know if he has enough here. He's lost all of his army to those mass Hydras in the field. Looks like his front door is going to go down. He's trying to build more cannons in the back. If he has another Storm in that Templar, he could be in good position, but I think that's the Templar to just Storm, so it's not going to have enough energy. He's pushing it with some Hydras. He could break the front here. Another Storm is all he needs. If he get one more Storm off, that'd be enough to hold this off, I believe. But more Hydras are coming in from the back. Bisu bringing his reinforcements from the back as well. This could be the game. We could see Shine taking a game off the great Bisu right here and now. If he doesn't do something to defend right now, but it looks like he's slowly managing to dwindle down those